Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text number 12. It's a very famous verse, and it's a very long commentary. Yeah. Natu eva. Oh, sorry. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So, Krishna is telling Arjuna here, Natu evaham jatu nasham, natvam neme janadipa, nachaiva na bhavishyamaha, sarve vayam ataparam. So, na never to, but eva certainly, aham I, jatu at any time, na did not, asam exist. Na not, tvam you, na not, ime all these, janadipa kings, na never, cha also, eva certainly, na not, bhavishyamaha shall exist, sarve vayam all of us, ataparam hereafter. So translation by Srila Prabhupada and purport. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us ever cease to be. Please repeat. Never was there a time.
Never was there any time
When I did not exist.
when I did not exist,
Nor you.
nor you,
Nor all these kings.
nor all these kings,
Nor in the future
nor in the future
shall any of us cease to be.
shall any of us cease to be.
In the Vedas, in the Katu Upanishad, as well as in Shvetashvatara Upanishad, it is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the maintainer of innumerable living entities in terms of their different situations, according to individual work and reaction of work. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is also by his plenary portion alive in the heart of every living entity. Only saintly persons who can see within and without the same Supreme Lord can actually attain to perfect and eternal peace. Here is the quote from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bahanam Yo Vidadati Kaman Tamatmastam Ye Nupashyanti Diras Tesham Shanti Shashvati Netaresham. The same Vedic truth given to Arjuna is given to all persons in the world who pose themselves as very learned, but factually have but a poor fund of knowledge. The Lord says clearly that he himself, Arjuna, and all the kings who are assembled on the battlefield are eternally individual beings, and that the Lord is eternally the maintainer of the individual living beings, both in their conditioned and in their liberated situations. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the supreme individual person, and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal associate, and all the kings assembled there are individual eternal persons. It is not that they did not exist as individuals in the past, and it is not that they will not remain eternal persons. Their individuality existed in the past, and their individuality will continue in the future without interruption. Therefore, there is no cause for lamentation for anyone. So there's, I'll just cover this part of the purport now, and then we'll continue on the next paragraph, which is very long. So, Natu evaham jatu nasham natvam neme janadipa. Krishna is telling Arjuna, basically, that your soul never dies. And you are the soul, and you occupy a material body. Kshetragyam chapimam vidi sharva kshetreshu bharata. This body is like kshetra, it's a field. And within your heart, Lord Krishna says, yantra rudani mayaya, that your body is yantra, it's a machine. And Lord Krishna, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, Rideshu Arjuna Tishtati. Brahmayam Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rudani Mayaya. Means that the Lord is in the body, He's in the heart, and the soul is also in the heart. And the Lord is fulfilling your desires. He can see into the future. Vedam Samatitani Vartamani Charjuna Bhavishani Chabutani Nami Vedvesha Stinapara. Krishna says, I know everything, past, present, and future. I know all beings, but me, no one really knows. No one really knows Krishna. Vedaham sarvatitani bhavishyati chabhutani. I know all living entities. Name Veda tatastaham. But no one knows me in truth. So that is the difference, that the spirit soul, conscious being, we're only conscious of our mind and body. We do not know the thoughts and pains and pleasures of anyone else's body. But because Lord Krishna, according to Lord Brahma in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma says, Adantaracha paramanu chayantarastam. The Lord Krishna, by his expansion of Vishnu, is in every atom and between every atom. So this is the difference. Lord Krishna has many potencies. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate natatshamascha vyadakascha drishyate. Sarvasya chaham swabhavaki jnana bala kriya cha. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. There's nothing the Lord cannot do. There's nothing the Lord doesn't know. Sarvasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shriyate. And all his Shaktis are contained within his body. So he has the Shakti that he knows every single atom in his creation, and he knows every single living being within his creation. He says, Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Manasastan Indriyani, Prakriti Stani Karshati. The Lord has many potencies, and in this verse and in other verses, he says to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, many, many births both you and I have had. I remember all of them, but you don't remember any of them. So that's the difference between God and the spirit soul. The spirit soul is known as Vibhinamsha. Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Manasastan Indriyani, Prakriti Stani Karshati. Krishna says, Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke. All living beings are my eternal parts and parcels. And that they're struggling very hard with the mind and the senses. So, Krishna tells Arjuna, I'll open up later. Bring everyone on camera. So, Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manasastan Indriyani. The problem is that all living entities, although the soul is eternal, because it's covered by the modes of material nature, Rajagun, Tamagun, and Sattvagun, then it's influenced by the illusory energy of the Lord. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Lobha pravritim aramba karmana ashama spriha. Rajani etani jayante vivride bharatar shava. That in one who is influenced by the mode of passion, then he's overwhelmed by lobha, means greed, desire for material possessions, desire for material powers, desire for material prestige. Lobha, pravriti means He only judges his reality based on material accomplishments, his social position, his material possessions. So, Lobha Pravitam Aramba Karmana Ashama Spriha, and he's overwhelmed by so many material desires. So that is the problem, is that the living entity here, Arjuna, is posing as a conditioned soul. He's not actually a conditioned soul, but in order for Krishna to speak the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has put Arjuna into temporary state of illusion. And now he's going to speak how to become enlightened and how to attain the purpose of human life. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. When one gets a human birth, then it's time to cultivate our relationship with God. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now is time to inquire into the absolute truth. So the absolute truth is here, Krishna is telling Arjuna, Natu evaham jatu nasham, natuam neme janadipa. That your soul never stops existing. Najayate mriyate. It doesn't die and it doesn't take birth. Nor after once having been does it ever cease to be. So that's the part of us that's the same as God. God, of course, is beyond. He says, Ajopi san avyayatma, bhutanam ishvaropi san. He says, I'm unborn and I never die. Ajopi san avyatma, bhutanam ishvaropi san. And I'm the Lord of all beings. He is the Lord of all the different living entities. Sarvasya chaham ridishani vishto. Sarva yoni shukunteya murteya sambhavantiya tesham brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradapita. Krishna says that all living beings, all the different species of life come from me, and the living entity, depending on his karma, enters into a dog body or insect body or a tree body or a bird body or a demigod body. But he says, Aham bija pradapita. I'm the seed-giving father. So there is a supreme being. He has created this universe for us to live in because we want to have some independence. The soul, being a part and parcel of God, also has a minute independence. And we choose to forget God. Krishna even says in the Gita, Sarvasachaham ridishani visto matasmitir jnanam apohanam cha. Matasmitir means, if you want, I'll make you forget me. I'll give you all the illusion you want. So illusion means, I think that I am the center, I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor. Aham mameti, I and mine. I am the body, and everything that I can accumulate will be my ownership. Aham mameti. This is the cause. This is the influence of the illusory energy of the Lord. Maya, mama maya duratya. Daivihi yesha gunamai, mama maya duratya. That this material energy is governed by Lord Shiva's wife, Parvati, Uma, Kali. She has many different forms. And Krishna says, Daivihi yesha gunamai. She has three pronged trident. Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. People who are influenced by Sattvagun, they also become attached to their high intellectual abilities, their high standard of living. Sattva. Sattva means the mode of goodness, which is very important to cultivate because it's a gateway to spiritual realization. But still, one becomes, Krishna says, too accustomed to this nice, peaceful life here in the material world and remains bonded in it. In Rajagun, of course, that's what we call Kali Yuga, Rajagun, Tamagun. People assume that the goal of human life is acquisition, acquiring material things, and trying to stimulate the material body with sense gratification. Bhog Aishvarya Prasaktanam. Bhoga means sense pleasure, and Aishvarya means accumulating wealth, accumulating money and the things that money can buy. This is actually a distraction from understanding myself as the eternal spirit soul, part and parcel of Lord Krishna. So it's very dangerous. The mode of passion is very dangerous. Rajagun. And Krishna says, Rajasastu phalam dukam. The only fruit you get from passion or obsession with material pleasure and material possessions is dukam, unhappiness. What to speak of the mode of ignorance? So our business is to cultivate the mode of goodness. Urdvam gachanti shatvashta means that one who dies in the mode of goodness, they go higher place. And Vishuddha Sattva means pure mode of goodness, where one is Brahma Bhuta Prashanatma, one is on the Brahma Bhuta platform. One understands himself as Brahman, and Shadavan Bhajate Yomam Same Yuktatamo Mataha. Mai Avesha Manoyemam Niti Yukta Upashate Shadavam Paryopetas Teme Yuktatamo Mataha. One who always engages his mind, body, intelligence, and words and activities in the service of Lord Krishna, Maya Vesha Manoyemam, Niti Yukta Upasade, 24 hours a day, Shadavam, with great faith, Paryopetas, Teme Yuktatamo, he's the highest of all beings, he's the highest of all the spiritual practitioners. So that is Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. So now we can go on to the second part of this commentary. Prabhupada says that the Mayavad theory that after liberation the individual soul, separated by the covering of Maya or illusion, will merge into the impersonal Brahman and lose its individual existence is not supported herein by Lord Krishna, the Supreme Authority. So that's very important to know. Mamai Vamso means part and parcel. Vibhinamsa. We're part and parcel of the Lord. We always maintain our individuality. Without individuality, how could you love God? If you just merge into, the homogeneous, non-dual Brahma Jyoti, where is the love? The soul is eternally and inherently active, and it wants to serve. The nature of the soul, whether it's in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, it wants to serve. That is just like water. The natural inherent quality of water is it is wet. It has qualities. So the inherent quality of the soul is service. So we're either going to serve Krishna's illusory energy, the Maya energy, which is also real, or we're going to serve Krishna and his representative, the spiritual master. So here, this idea of simply merging into Brahman and losing one's identity is not supported here by Lord Krishna, the Supreme Authority. Nor is the theory that we only think of individuality in the conditioned state supported herein. So they think that now I am in illusion and therefore identify with form. But when I attain moksha or a liberation, I merge into this Brahma Jyoti of Krishna, Krishna's white light. But Krishna says in the Gita, Brahmano hi pratishtaham, I am the foundation of this Brahman effulgence. So one never loses one's individuality. It is not possible. The soul is eternally individual, whether it's past, present, future. That is the intrinsic nature of the soul. Individuality, desire is there within the soul. Desire comes from the soul. It is a symptom of the soul. Consciousness is a symptom of the soul. I'm conscious of this body. So one never loses that individuality because God is an individual. Therefore, I'm an individual. Only I am infinitesimal And God is infinitely, he is infinite in all considerations, whether it's power, wealth, strength, knowledge, renunciation, or beauty, or any kind of abilities. Krishna himself is unlimited, infinitely powerful, infinitely beautiful, infinitely wealthy, infinitely renounced, infinitely knowledgeable. All knowledge, everything comes from Krishna. So we're simply tiny little spirit souls, jiva. Jiva Bhuta Mahabaho. We're tiny parts and parcels of Krishna. So we don't lose that individuality. That is not a fact. Clearly, Krishna here states that in the future also, the individuality of the Lord, as it is confirmed in the Upanishads, will continue eternally. The statement of Krishna's is authoritative because Krishna cannot be subject to illusion. The human being has 4 defects. This material body has 4 defects, the human body or any material body, but specifically human body has imperfect senses. We're in a state of illusion. We have a tendency to be an illusion. We make mistakes, and we have a cheating propensity. Those are the 4 defects of all human beings. Cheating propensity, always an illusion, imperfect senses, and a propensity or tendency to make mistakes. So how can we give perfect knowledge? We have to receive perfect knowledge from the perfect person. Who is the perfect person? The Guru. Tad vigyanartam sa guru mivabhigachat samitpani shotyam brahmanishtam. The Guru is Gyanani Tattvadarshinaha. He is Tattvadarshi. He sees the truth. He can see God. He sees Krishna within his heart. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Sandasa Devi Hridayeshi Vilokayanti. Yam Sundaran Shamasundaram Achintya Guna Sawarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So this is a statement by Lord Brahma. The one whose eyes are anointed with the salve of love of God, which has been endowed upon us by God himself if we surrender to him and follow his instructions under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, then that spiritual master, he can give us prema or love of God as well. And he is seeing Krishna everywhere. Krishna says, Yomam Pashati Sarvasya Sarvam Chamai Pashati Sachamena Prana. One who sees me everywhere and in everything, and everything in me, he's a true knower of things. I am a friend to him, and he is a friend to me. So, Krishna's authority cannot be questioned, as he says in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Uttama Purusha Tvanye Paramatmeti Udaritaha Yoloko Trayam Avisha Vivarti Avyaya Ishvaraha. And he says, Yasmat Savam Atitoham Aksharam Apichotamaha. That first he says, above all living entities, fallible and infallible, is the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord who is in everyone's heart. He's known as Paramatma. Yoloko Trayam Avisha. He says, I am maintaining all these universes. Yolokam Trayam Avisha. Bibarti Avyaya Ishvaraha. I never expire. Avyaya. I never expire. I'm always there maintaining everything. Ashmat Shara Matitoham Aksharam Apichotamaha. Yo Atosmi Loke Vedecha. This is stated in all the Vedas. The Vedic authorities state that Krishna is the supreme maintainer and cognizant of all creatures and the all-powerful source of everything that be. So he says, I am celebrated in the Vedas by the great sages. Atosmi loko vedecha. I'm celebrated throughout all the universes as that supreme being. Pratishta Purushottama. Pratishta Purushottamaha. The supreme being, the supreme personality, the first being, that is Krishna. So, if individuality were not a fact, then Krishna would not have stressed it so much. Even for the future, the Mayavadi may argue. So the Mayavadis, they follow the Advaitist philosophy, Brahma, Satya, Jagat, Mithya. They say that the only truth is Brahman, a white light. There's no personal concept of God, they say. And they say that once you merge into this white light, then you attain moksha forever, and that's it. There's no personal individuality. This is imperfect knowledge, very imperfect. We're all individuals, and the Brahma Jyoti is simply the effulgence of the spiritual world. It manifested throughout Krishna's creation, and Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter, Brahmano hi pratishtaham, Brahmano hi pratishtaham, satvikam nirmalam. That I am the foundation of the Brahman effulgence. Shashvatasya cha dharmasya, it is the source of all dharma. Sukasya kantikasya cha, and it is full of bliss. Sukasya kantikasya cha. Amritasya vyayasya cha, it is immortal. It is immortal. That is the Brahman. But he says, Brahmano hi pratishtaham, I, a person, Krishna, I am the holding up the Brahman. I'm the source of the Brahman. Pratishta. I'm the foundation of this Brahman effulgence. It comes from his body. Advaitam achutam anadim anantarupam. All things, Advaitam, comes from Lord Krishna. So the Advaitists, they have learned from Shankaracharya this idea of Brahma, Satya, Jagat, Mithya, the universe is false. But it's not false. The Mayavadis and Advaitis are very, very expert at enjoying the material world. Although they say it's false, they're also using this material world for their own purposes. Therefore, Krishna warns in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Yene ravindaksha vimuktimaninas tvayi ashtabhavad avishuddha buddhaya. Aruna krichena param tada patanti ado nadrita yushmanangraya. Those persons who worship this Brahman effulgence of the Lord, vimuktimanina, they're simply concerned about their own liberation of the soul. Tui ashtabhavad avishuddha buddhaya. Their intelligence is avishuddha. It is contaminated because they're thinking, I want to be God, so I'll just merge with God. And that God has no personality, no face, no eyes, no form. That is a great offense to the Lord. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the avatar in Kali Yuga, he says, Mayavad Shunile Basya Pakandi, that they are the most offensive to the Supreme Lord, the Mayavadis, philosophers. It is a form of atheism to say that God has no form, no beauty, no eyes. He doesn't know anything. It's just a vapor, a vaporous, a vapid, impersonal void. So it is not very complimentary to Supreme Lord Krishna. And he states, Lord Brahma states that Lord Krishna is the source of this Brahma Jyoti. So, in that verse, Yene Ravindakshi Vimuktimani Nastwayi Ashtabhavad Avishuddha Buddhaya Aru Krichena Param Tadam, because the soul has a tendency and an inherent quality of service to the Lord. Again, the Mayavadis, the Advaitis, they fall back down from this moksha, and they open up schools and hospitals, and they serve on a mundane level. They again become covered by the illusory energy of the Lord, the Maya, the illusion of the Lord. So it's a temporary state of liberation that they get. It's incomplete, unsatisfying. The only satisfaction, Krishna says, is to become his devotee. Even accepting the argument that the individuality is material, then how can one distinguish Krishna's individuality? Krishna affirms his individuality in the past and confirms his individuality in the future also. He has confirmed his individuality in many ways, and impersonal Brahman has been declared to be subordinate to him. I quoted that verse already. Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya vyasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukasya kantikasya cha. 14th chapter. Krishna has maintained spiritual individuality all along. In fact, Krishna warns Arjuna in the 12th chapter, Gita. He says, Klesho dikatarastesham avyakta shakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukam deyadvadvir avapyate. Those who worship this impersonal effulgence of the Lord and who want to become God by merging with God's effulgence, he says, Klesho dikatarastesham. Klesho means troublesome. The only fruit you get from this, the only result you get is it's very troublesome to become part of some, merge into some impersonal void of white light. Avyakta shakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukam. He says that the path of impersonalism is dukam. It is full of misery. It's very difficult. It's very tasteless. There's no taste there. There's no ananda. There's not so much satisfaction there. There's a little bit. There's a little bit of bliss because one becomes freed from the mode of passion and ignorance and goodness. Avyaktahi gatir dukam dehavad viravapite. For the embodied soul, this path is very troublesome. So if he is accepted as an ordinary conditioned soul in individual consciousness, if Krishna is accepted as an ordinary soul, then the Bhagavad Gita has no value as authoritative scripture. A common man with all the 4 defects of human frailty is unable to teach that which is worth hearing. The common human being has imperfect senses, is always in illusion, makes mistakes, has a tendency to make mistakes, and has a cheating propensity, always wants to cheat. So these 4 things disqualifies one from giving perfect knowledge. And here it is said, a common man with all the 4 defects of human frailty is unable to teach that which is worth hearing. The Gita is above such literature. No mundane book compares with Bhagavad Gita. When one accepts Krishna as an ordinary man, the Gita loses all importance. The Mayavadi argues that the plurality mentioned in this verse is conventional and that it refers only to the body. But previous to this verse, such a bodily conception is already condemned by Krishna. Krishna chastises Arjuna in the previous verses. He says, Asochanan vasochas tuam pragyavase jabasate. Gatasun agatasun chan nanusochanti panditaha. Says you're speaking like a pandit, but you don't know the difference between gatasun and agatasun. A body that has life and a body that has no life. The difference is the soul. So you have no knowledge, Arjuna. Krishna is telling Arjuna, speaking to him as if he's a conditioned soul. Of course, Arjuna is eternally associated of Lord Krishna. He's known as the Nara-Narayan combination of Narayan and Nara, the great sage Nara-Narayan. So after condemning the bodily conception of all living entities, how was it possible for Krishna to place a conventional proposition on the body again? Therefore, individuality is maintained on spiritual grounds and is thus confirmed by great acharyas like Ramanuja and others. It is clearly mentioned in many places in the Gita that the spiritual individuality is understood by those who are devotees of the Lord. So that's the bottom line. Devotees of the Lord are given full understanding of what they are and where they're going. Krishna says, Tasmat sarvashu kaleshu mamanusmara yudyacha mai arpatamano buddhi. That therefore, Arjuna, you should always, Tasmat sarvashu kaleshu, offer all your activities to me. Mamanusmara yudyacha. And while you're fighting, yudyacha, you should always remember me. Fix your mind on Krishna. Krishna has a two-armed form holding a flute. He is bluish in complexion, but his body is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Vigraha. Vigraha means form. But that body, it may seem like an ordinary human body, as he says in the Bhagavad Gita. Namam Duskritina. Foolish people, they don't understand who I am. Ajopi san avyayatma, I'm unborn, and also my body never deteriorates. Bhutanam Ishvaro pi san, I'm the Ishvara, the supreme controller of all Bhuta, all living entities. And Sambhavami Yuga Yuga, I descend in this world yuga after yuga after yuga. Nanavatarama Karod Bhuvaneshu Kintu means millions of avatars of God appear to help the fallen souls. Pritchanaya sadhanam vinashaya chaduskritam. He comes to protect his devotees. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir. When religion becomes convoluted and polluted, then Krishna comes again and again. So although he may look like an ordinary human being, he is an unlimited personality. So Ramanujacharya, Madhavacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the great acharyas, Narada Muni, Asita, Devala, all the great souls, they declare that Krishna is Param Brahm, Param Dham, Pavicham, Paramam Bhavam, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum. This is stated by Arjuna in the 11th chapter of the Gita. Param Brahm, he is the supreme Brahman. Param Dham, he's the supreme abode. Purusham Shashvata, he's the supreme person. Pavitram Paramambhavam, he's the supreme pure. Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, he's the supreme divine being, supreme God of all gods. Adi Devam, the source of all the gods. Shiva, Brahma, Indra, Chandra, Agni, Ganesh, all come from Krishna. All beings come from him. That is clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita. So it is clearly mentioned in many places in the Gita that the spiritual individuality is understood by those who are devotees of the Lord. Those who are envious of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead have no bona fide access to the great literature. The non-devotee's approach to the teachings of the Gita is something like that of a bee licking on a bottle of honey. One cannot have a taste of honey unless one opens the bottle. Similarly, the mysticism of Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees. Bhaktyas tu ananyaya shakyam aham evam vidorjuna gyatum jastum chatadvina visham cha parantapa. In the 11th chapter, Krishna says that you can only know me by pure, unalloyed, uninterrupted, unmotivated, devotional service under the guidance, of course, of a bona fide guru, a bona fide acharya. No one else can taste this nectar of devotion, Bhakti Rasa Mrita Sindhu, the nectar of devotion, as it is stated in the 4th chapter of the Gita. Nor can the Gita be touched by persons who envy the existence of God. Even one may be highly learned materially, highly successful, big, powerful person, if they don't accept the Supreme Lord, and they want to be the Supreme Lord, that is the problem. Idam adyamala maya labdam imam prapshe manoratam. Idam astitam api me bhavishyati punardhanam. Today I'm very wealthy, tomorrow I'll get more wealth. Everyone's my enemy. I have to beat everyone out and become the top dog. Bhavishati punardanam, and tomorrow I'll even accumulate even more wealth. In this way, I will enjoy. Ishvaraham maham bhogi siroham balavan sukhi. That is stated by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16. One thinks, Ishvaraham, I'm the supreme controller. Aham bhogi, I'm the supreme enjoyer. I enjoy. I have a Maserati, I have a Lamborghini, I have a big house, I have name and fame, I have followers, I have big bank balance, I have stocks on the New York Exchange, on the Bombay Exchange, wherever. I just have so much property, like this. They go on and on, not knowing. Krishna says, Mitra Sarva Haraschaham. At the time of death, I take everything away. Therefore, Krishna is known as Hari. Hari means one who takes everything away. So therefore, the Mayavadi explanation of the Gita is most misleading presentation of the whole truth. Lord Chaitanya has forbidden us to read commentations made by the Mayavadis and warns that one who takes to such an understanding of the Mayavadi philosophy loses all power to understand the real mystery of Gita. If individuality refers to the empirical universe, then there is no need of teaching by the Lord. The plurality of the individual soul and of the Lord is an eternal fact, and it is confirmed by the Vedas as above mentioned. So that's the end of this particular commentary by Srila Prabhupada, focusing on the difference between dualism and monism. And Aru Krichena Param Tata Patanti Ado Nadarita Yushmanangraya. It's stated in the 10th canto that those who are always pursuing vimoksha, vimukti manina, always wanting liberation, avishuddha buddhaya, their intelligence is contaminated by the idea that they want to be God, they want to merge with God and become God. Aru Krichena Param Padam Tata. Although they think they're at the highest level of self-realization, Ado Natra Yushmad Angraya. Tata Patanti Ado. Patanti means they fall down again into the material conception of life, into the Maya, into the illusion. They cannot stay in the Brahmajyoti forever. So that's going on. And we'll now open up if you have any comments or questions. We have some persons online right now who are listening, I suppose. Ramesh Karavadra. Hare Krishna, Ramesh. How are you? Everything good? Ramesh is living in a nice farm in Canada. I hope you're enjoying the summer and the warm weather in Canada, and taking care of Krishna's cows. Krishi Go Rakshavanijam Vaishakarma Svabhavajam. So that is the point here, a very important point, because Nirvishesha Shunyavad, the philosophy of impersonalism and voidism, is very widely followed across the globe these days on planet Earth. There's so much occupation and preoccupation with this impersonalist philosophy that God has no form. Is a kind of atheism, that there's no supreme controller. All this material energy is actually false. If it's false, why do you like smelling a flower? Why do you like eating a nice, cheesecake or ice cream? Or why does your tongue enjoy these things? Why do you like a nice soft pillow to lie your head on? Why do you drive a car? Why do you try to enjoy, have a nice time? If the material world is so false, why are you trying to enjoy it? Why do you use it? Just be zero. If your eyes, ears, brain, you know, intelligence, mind, if these things are all false, then stop using it. Stop writing books about becoming God or trying to be God or trying to merge. It's totally discouraged and condemned by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was the Yuga avatar. And this kind of philosophy is highly, very dangerous philosophy. You know, because it leads one to atheism, basically. Yeah, there's no God in control, you know. It's just this big illusion, and somehow. So where did the entire universe come from? The universe is a highly, highly fine-tuned, highly organized machine. Yantra, this material body, if you can look at it as a universe, is also highly biotechnological. There's cells, trillions of cells, and in every cell, all kinds of machines are working in the cell. Protein, they're called nanomachines or protein molecules, oily molecules, acidic different types of molecules, carbohydrate molecules, and they're all doing various tasks and assignments to keep the body alive, keep the cells alive, keep the body alive. It's an entire orchestrated program going on, and either on a microscopic level or a macroscopic level. The universe is highly fine-tuned. There are different forces controlling the universe in a very, very, very controlled way. Therefore, we see the planets are all moving in a very specific orbits, and for various functions, they can influence. As Krishna says, I enter into the moon and supply the life-giving juices. So because of the moon, so many fruits and vegetables contain nutrients and so many things. The universe is also teleological. That means it has purpose, and the components within the universe serve a purpose. For example, it's very obvious that the sun is serving a purpose. Without the sun, you don't get photosynthesis, you don't have light, you don't have heat. So many things, even vitamins come from the sun, vitamin E. So, by some accident, the sun showed up. That's what the atheists say. So this impersonalist philosophy leads to atheism because they say that there's no intelligent designer behind the universe. If I look at a very complex robot, which can build a car, for example, take components and put them exactly where they're required to build a machine, and that machine has a function. I will conclude that there is a designer behind that machine. It's called artificial intelligence, robotic intelligence. That is created by a designer, by an engineer. So similarly, the universe has so many components which work in harmony with each other, in connection with each other to serve a purpose. Supply of oxygen, supply of water, supply of heat and light, supply of various nutrients in the earth, supply of required minerals for the body, trace minerals. So many things seem to be supplied. Is it all a coincidence? Did it just happen? We say no. We say just as you see any machine, it's a teleological system. It has a purpose. You turn a key, there's a spark, an explosion, combustion takes place. In other words, it drives a piston, drive shaft, it pushes the wheels, ultimately turn, and you go from Mumbai to Ahmedabad, or you go from New York to Los Angeles, or wherever. You go from France to Italy, whatever. So there's purpose. So we see the universal body, the entire cosmic machine, having purpose and designed in a very, very specific way to serve various purposes and working in a very orchestrated way. So where's the conductor? Who is the conductor? Who designed it? Who designed this cosmic machine, as we may say? Who designed this cosmic universe called the material body? Who designed the cosmic cell? You know, the machine called this, the factory called the cell. Within the cell, there's so many parts, moving parts. There's so many machines being designed and created by the DNA within that cell. There's a nucleus, nucleolus, mitochondria, the membrane of the cell. Then the cell produces enzymes, which are regulatory components, which allow only certain things to live or come inside the cell through the membrane. So many so much complex mechanizations within a tiny little cell. And we asked them, can you produce such a machine that does so many things? Herewith, up to this time, they have no clue how life is created from matter. Biogenesis, they call it, or origin of life, they call it, and they spend millions of dollars trying to synthesize life within the laboratories, multi-million-dollar laboratories, top scientists, top chemists, top this and that. They still have not been able to produce a tiny little cell, a living cell, like a germ, like a E. coli or amoeba or something. No, not possible. Not possible. You have to be God. And if you were to produce a cell from dead matter, if you were to take some molecules and somehow produce a living cell, you would be really famous. You'd be more famous than Albert Einstein, believe me. That's a fact. So they have not even close to a threshold of producing life. They're not close to it, yet they claim that life comes from matter. Therefore, why? Because there's no God. I refuse to accept God. I refuse to accept an engineer, a designer, whatever you want to call him, an operator of this particular universe and all its various species. They refuse to accept it. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Sucham Vidisani Vishto, Matasmitir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So forgetfulness of God, that's called atheism. So you want to be an atheist? God supplies. Man proposes, God disposes. Here, have some Darwin theory, have some Big Bang theory, have some Karl Marx theory. And therefore, human society is overwhelmed by chaos. It's a very chaotic society. There's so much violence, there's so much misery, there's so much pain, and yet they're not willing to accept the existence of a supreme authority. Very unfortunate. Therefore, it says, Prayana Parisha Shabdir Kalir Asmin Yuge Janaha. Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagahi Upadritaha. The qualities and characteristics and symptoms of persons, human beings in the age of Kali are Prayana, means that they're very short-lived. They don't have much lifespan, like in previous ages. Kalir Asmin Yuge Janaha. Manda Sumanda, their brain is very compromised because they eat so much junk food and garbage, and they eat meat and consume so much stuff, and the whole atmosphere is polluted. So Manda Sumanda Matayo, their brain is stunted. It is polluted. It's not clean and clear. And Manda Bhagya Hi Upajutaha, and they're always disturbed. In Kali Yuga, human beings, they're always suffering from disturbances. The government is taking their money in the form of taxes more and more. Prices are going up because of conflicts, global conflicts. Diseases are coming because of unsavory behaviors, like STDs come along. So many diseases come because of the chemicalization of the environment, the pollution of the environment. In other words, people are getting cancers like anything. Heart diseases are coming because of the enormous amount of pressure and stress on people to simply maintain their body and the body of their families. Due to ignorance of their identity as a spirit soul, they're caught up just like rats, running the treadmill. Those mice, they have mice that run treadmills, and you see them. So they're caught up in this huge competition simply to maintain the body. And they try to enjoy. Then they try to enjoy in many ways, consuming things that hurt the body, hurt the brain. So these things are going on in our society because of the influence of Kali Yuga, the influence of the age of quarrel, the iron age of quarrel, Kali Yuga. And therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes the verse, Kalir dosha nide rajan, astireko mahadgunan, kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta sangha param vajat. In the age of Kali, it's an ocean of dosha, ocean of faults. But there's one great quality that Lord Krishna, in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has supplied freely to us here in this age of Kali. Kirtanad eva Krishnasya mukta sangha paramajat. Simply by chanting the name of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These are potent, powerful mantra. It's a powerful mantra. Mantra means to deliver the mind. Mantra, deliver the mind. So this is very potent because the Lord has invested all his potencies in his name. God is absolute, so he's non-different from his name. As they say in Christianity, hallowed be thy name. And in Islam, they say, utter the name of God, Allah. So the name of God is very potent and very powerful, and it's purifying. It's a source of great happiness and peace and bliss. And it is the ultimate goal of life, is how to love God by chanting his holy name. So if someone has any questions, they can type them up, text them. If not, we can end here. It's been an hour. So we thank you for watching, whoever's watching. Thank you very much. And may you have a great day, a great week, a great month, a great year, a great life. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.